we're up to over here, Vizehu Mashikosu. So the Rebbe was discussing from the Maimer of the Rebbe Maharash. He asked the question, the Rebbe Maharash asked the question, how come when we say the Pasuk, Shtabchi Yerushalayim, so when we talk about Yerushalayim, we talk about Hashem. And when we talk about Sion, we say Elokayich, we talk about the Elikim. Bechlal, Sion is considered to be a higher level than Yerushalayim. And Havaya is a higher level than Elikim, so it should be the other way around. Yerushalayim should has more a connection with Elikim. And Sion has more a connection with the higher Madrege, with Havaya. How come the order is switched around? Now the Rebbe now is bringing from the idea that just like we have Sion and Yerushalayim in the city of Yerushalayim and the city of called Yerushalayim and called Sion in space, there's also the two levels of Yerushalayim and Sion by a person. A person, there is an avodah of a yid, which is called Sion. There's avodah of a yid, which is called Yerushalayim. Sion is Yira Ilo'o. That's the higher level of Yira. And Yerushalayim is Yira Tato, the lower level of Yira. As he's going to explain, the lower level of Yira is only Bittul Hayesh. The lower level of Yira comes from the person's reflection on the greatness of Hashem, and it comes from the person, and therefore it can only be in a way of Bittul Hayesh, because it is creation, and the person is an entity, so through his reflection, all that he can reach is the level of Bittul Hayesh. He's still Hayesh, but he's Bittul. That's the idea of Yira Tato. On the other hand, Yira Ilah, that's a level of Bittul B'Metzias. So basically, Yerushalayim, which is the level of Yira Tato, that's the level of Bittul Hayesh. And Sion, which is the level of Yira Ilah, is the level of Bittul B'Metzias. So what the Rebbe wants to bring out is, according to this, we have the same question like the Rebbe Maharash asked earlier. Why is Sion related to Elikim and Yerushalayim to Havaya in the service of the person too? Because it seems like Yerushalayim, which is Yira Tato, is the lower level. So why is that associated with Havaya? And Sion, which is the higher level, which is Yira Ilah, and Sion is only a simon, why is that connected to the Shem Elikim? So the Rebbe elaborates and is trying to show that just like we were talking about before in the level of the world, just like we were talking before in the level of Mokim, Sion and Yerushalayim, the same thing is in the service of Hashem. So we're saying, Hallelujah, Shabchi Yerushalayim as Hashem, which would mean the level of Yerushalayim, the level of Yira Tato is as Havaya. And Hallelujah, Lekayich Tzion, the level of Tzion, Yira is only Hashem Elikim. Why? But the Rebbe explains now, in the middle of explaining, that a person can only reach the level on his own of Yira Tato. What does it mean on his own? Through a person's meditation. When a person is mizboinen, when he works hard and he reflects on godliness, on Hashem, he doesn't expire from a Metzias. He remains a Metzias, but he is bottled. In order to be Bittul B'Metzias by a person, it has to come from above. it comes through the Eibishter giving the mitzvahs. Your own reflection will not get you there, but you need the mitzvahs. This is what he says. V'zehu mashikosuv. This is what the pasuk says. The pasuk says, "Vayitzavenu Hashem lasos es kol hachukim ha'ela." Hashem commanded us to do all these statutes. Why? He says, "Liyira es havaya," so we fear Hashem. What does the meaning over here to fear Hashem means? To get to the level of Yira Ilah. In order to get the level of Yira Ilah, the higher level of Yira, which brings to Bittul b'Mitzias, we need the mitzvahs. Hashem told us, "Lasis is kol hachukim ha'ela." When we do this kol hachukim ha'ela, that will bring us liyira sabaya, so that we fear havaya. We have the level of Yira Ilah. Yira sabaya is the level of Yira Ilah. In order to come to the level of Yira es havaya, to be Yira from the name of Havaya, which is Yira Ilah, that's the higher level of Yira, Habo al Yidei Hergish that comes through feeling the greatness or the exaltness of the Ein Sof that is higher than world. That's how you get the Yira Ilah. Is not by creation that what Hashem created, but you get it by the feeling that Hashem is above you, that He's higher than the world. He's exalted. He's high. He's a Merema for the world. How do you get that? Hu al yidei Torah mitzvahs. That comes through Torah mitzvahs. We can get the higher level of Yira, not through your own hisboinenus, not through your reflection, but through your reflection gives you only Yira Tata. Only through Torah mitzvahs can you get to the level of Yira Ilah. That's why hachukim ha'elu. V'yitzavenu Hashem lasis as kol hachukim ha'elu, which give us the opportunity to experience Yira Ilah. Ki al yidei hisboinenus, through reflection, efsher lahasig rak ha'elukus shebe'erech ha'elamis. Through reflection, we are only able to grasp only the level of godliness, which is compared within comparison to the world. It's a godliness which has a shaykhis and is relative to the world. It's not beyond the world. But ubichdei sheyurga sharoimemois, the Ein Sof Shalamayla Me'olamais, in order to get the feeling of the Reimemis, of the infinite, which is higher than world, Hudavke al Yidei Gilui Milmayla. That doesn't come from the person, that comes from a revelation from above. Shenimshach al Yidei Limud HaTorah Mikiyum HaMitzvahs. That extends by when you learn Torah and you observe the mitzvahs, then you can get Yira Ilah. Okay, so we have the two levels. We have the level that a person can reach by himself, the level of Yira Tata, that comes through his reflection. And then we have the level of Yira Ilah, which he gets above through Torah mitzvahs. You get the higher level, Ein Sof, which is higher than the world. A person through his reflection cannot reach it because it's beyond the world. But through Torah mitzvahs, Hashem lasis as kol hachukim ha'ela, in order to get the level of Yira as Havai. So now, this also explains the word in the pasuk, like we say, ki mitzion teitzei Torah udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. That Yerushalayim over here is connected to Dvar Hashem, which is the lower level of Yirat HaTorah. That's connected to Dvar Hashem, because Dvar Hashem is connected to creation, because the level of Yira we get, Yerushalayim, is creation, is Dvar Hashem. But the level of Tzion, which is the Yira Ilah, that we get from the level of Torah, which is Vayetzavenu Lasis Kol HaChukim HaElu. So, and that gives us the higher level of Yira Ilah. V'zuhi ha'shaychus, the Tzion l'Torah. And this is the connection from Tzion, Kimet Tzion, Teitzei Torah, that Torah gives you the level of Tzion, and Yerushalayim is from the level of Dvar Havaya, is Ki Yira Tato, because the lower level of Yira, which is Yerushalayim, Hi Midvar Havaya Shemahave Eso'elamais. That comes from the word of Hashem that creates world. The Chlal, as the Pasuk says, where are worlds created? Creation, Hishtalshulus, that's connected to Dvar Havaya, because the word of Hashem, the Asorim Amoris, those is what creates the world, as the Pasuk says, Bidvar Hashem Shomayim Nasu. The Pasuk says that it is with the words of Hashem, the Dibur, that creates Shemayim. So that is the level of Yerushalayim, that's the level of Yirat HaTorah, the level of Dvar Hashem, level of Olamais. But the Yira Ilah, on the other hand, the higher level of Yira, which is the level of Tzion, he Megilu Harei Memois, the Ein Sof Shalamayla Olamais. That comes from the revelation of the exaltness higher than the world, of the Ein Sof Shalamayla Olamais, which is higher than the world. That is Nimshach al Yidei Torah, Nimshach al Yidei Torah Mitzvahs. That comes through Torah Mitzvahs. That's why is Mitzion takes a Torah. That's connected to Torah, because the level of Yirei Law is connected to higher than world, to Yirei Law. And that's why it's Torah. But Yerushalayim is a Dvar Havaya. So now, basically, we explained in the Avodas HaAdam, in the Nefesh, the two levels of Tzion in Yerushalayim, what it is in Avodas HaAdam. So we see very clearly that the Avodah of Tzion by a person's Nefesh is a much higher level than the Avodah of Yerushalayim, because Tzion is the level of Yirei Ilah, and Yerushalayim is the level of Yirat HaTorah. So how come in the Pasuk we started off Shabchi Yerushalayim as Havaya? Why is there a connection from Yerushalayim to Hashem and from Tzion to Lekayich? Balpizeh Hadiyuk Behakosu Shabchi Yerushalayim as Havaya Hallelujah Lekayich Tzion. The question that the Rebbe Marash asked in the Maimer, in the Pasuk, that when it says by Yerushalayim, it says es Havaya, Shabchi es Havaya. And when it says Tzion, it says Elekayich Sheb Yerushalayim Nemar Havaya. Ubetzion Elikim, then Yerushalayim, it says Havaya, Betzion Elikim, Hugam Behoinyan Yerushalayim Betzion Shabavodas HaAdam. So we have that same question applies to the Yerushalayim and Tzion, which is in the service of Hashem. Why does it say Tzion, a connection to Elikim, and Yerushalayim, connection to Havaya? Explains a little bit now Havaya Elikim. Dina Yodua B'inyan Havaya Elikim. So, what is the idea between Havaya and Elikim, the name of Hashem, and the name Elikim? The Elikim who Oir HaMemali. Elikim represents the light of Hashem which fills the world. Oir Shebe'erech Oilamas. That's a light which is compared in the world. V'havaya hu oir hasoivev, but the name of Havaya is oir shalamayla ma'olamis. That's the light which is higher than the world. So Havaya is above world. Elikim is Memala fills the world. So since Havaya is higher than the world and Elikim is the world, so it's understood Sheyira Tato, the lower level of Yira, which is connected to the world, to Dvar Havaya, to the world, Shayachas Elikim, V'Yira Ilo, and the higher level of Yira is Lavaya. Ba'afal Pikein, and still B'Yerushalayim Yira Tato Nemar Havaya, and still in the pasuk Shabchi Yerushalayim as Havaya. So when we talk about Yerushalayim, which is the Yira Tato, it says Havaya. Ubetzion, and when we talk about Tzion Yira Ilo, it says Hallelujah Lekayich Tzion Nemar Elikim. It says Elikim. So basically, what the Rebbe did here, he took the same question that the Rebbe Maharash asked on Tzion and Yerushalayim, and he applied it in Avodah to the Nefesh HaOdom. That the same question we have as we look at Tzion Yerushalayim, the way it's in Avodah HaOdom, what the level of Tzion is, the level of Bittul B'Metzias Yira Ilo. We learned that Yerushalayim is Bittul Hayesh Yira Tato, the Yin from Ishtalshulus. So we have the same question that the Rebbe Marash asked about Tzion Yerushalayim in general. We have it now with regards to Avodas HaOdom. Why is Tzion connected to Elikim when Elikim is Hishtalshalus, but Tzion we discussed is higher than Hishtalshalus? And why is Yerushalayim associated with the Shem Havaya when Yerushalayim is connected to Hishtalshalus? And the Rebbe will bring in a little later on, the next ois, not the next one after this, the Rebbe will bring in the answer that the Rebbe Maharaj gave over there, which would also apply to the answer over here. But first, the Rebbe is going to explain what the level exactly, the level of Yira Ilo, more detailed than the level. And again, the question is going to become even stronger, because once we're going to understand what the level of Tzion, the Yira Ilo, the Bittul B'Metzias, the great level, and we're going to see the level of Yerushalayim, we're going to have this question is going to be even exaggerated. It's going to be even stronger. How come Elikim is connected to Tzion and Yerushalayim to Havaya? The Rebbe, just by the way, the answer is going to be that because Taket Tzion is such a high madrege, you need to have Elikim Gevuris to protect it, as we'll see later on. But in the meantime, let's do Izvah. Biur ha'iloi, the Yira Ilo, Tzion beprotis yoser, in order to explain the advantage of the Yira Ilo, the Tzion in more detail. Yuvon b'hagdim ha'mevur b'ha'maimer. So we'll understand it, to understand the greatness of the Yira Ilo, we'll understand it by first introducing what the Maimer is explained in the Maimer Divr HaMaschil Shabchi Hanal, the Maimer of Shabchi Yerushalayim, which the Rebbe brings down from the Rebbe Maharash, that he said it 100 years ago. So understanding over there in the Maimer, he says like this: Shebehiz boinenus amiviyah liyira tato, which is Yerushalayim, in the reflection that brings a person to the lower level of Yira, which we're calling here Yerushalayim, as opposed to Tzion. So in the reflection, there is Shnei Inyonim. There are two aspects. One aspect is that we reflect on creation, Hashem's greatness, that Hashem can create such a vast creation like the world that Hashem created. oh wow, that brings us to a greatness of our expression, that brings us to a level of Yira, a Yira Tato, level of Yerushalayim. But also another level is in which we realize that all this greatness that comes is only the last step in godliness. Hashem himself is much higher than this. All this greatness is just the latest step. It says like this, the Shnei Inyonim. The reflection in his blessed God, greatness, which is in creation itself. Wow, the greatness of Hashem blessed in creation. Whether it is in the aspect, how many multiple is your actions, Hashem? And also, how many and how great is Hashem's action. These are two aspects within reflection in the Bria itself. That's one. But then we have Vayizbonenus and the reflection, Shekol HaYizhavus, that all of the creation, whether the Ribuy HaNivroim of the multiple, so many creations beings, or Gedoyle HaNivroim and such great creations, Hirak Mebechina Achi Achroino. This is only the last level of godliness, is all this. What does it mean that all this is the last step? So the Rebbe explains now that in order for us to be able to appreciate Hashem, we don't really have an appreciation of Hashem. We only know in a very little bit the last step, and therefore a person reflects, brings it to him. He says, oh, what I know is really very little, very nothing, almost nothing to what there is to know. Because what we are able to see is very little. Like the Pasuk says, Godel Havaya u'mu'ulo me'oid. Hashem is great and he's very praised. But when Be'ir Elikenu, when he is in this city of our God, basically the city of our God is in Yerushalayim, basically. But what does it mean over here that Hashem is great when he's in Ir Elikenu, when he's in the Ir Elikenu? So we're going to see that means that is only the level of like doimim of godliness, the Ir Elikenu, just like a city is built from houses, it's all stones, and stones are all level of doimim, the lowest level. So basically, when we know Hashem's greatness is Be'ir Elikenu, when it has to do with doimim, which is the lowest level of godliness. And reflecting on that gives you that sense that Hashem himself is way higher, so that's also part of the Hizbonenus. V'amru Razal, our sages of blessed memory say, when is Hashem great? When he's in the city of Elikenu, when he's in Yerushalayim, which means if he's not in the city, if he's not in the level of Ir Elikenu, then we don't even know who he is. He's too high for us. He's on a higher level than we can grasp. So when is Hashem Godel is when he is Ir Elikenu. Shekdulo seyizborich k'moishehu mitzad atzmo. Hashem greatness on his own, he lemailo mahaso gosenu, that's higher than our grasp. We don't know. This that we know his blessed greatness through the creation of the world. We know is like he's in the city. When he's in the city of God, in that city we know shehu olam hadibur. This means it's the world of dibur. The world of dibur means speech is a lower level, like machshava, like dibur. Dibur is already external. When he is in Ir Elikenu, the city of Elikenu, which is the olam hadibur, over there we can start appreciating Hashem's greatness, which means only in that level. What does it mean, the Olam Hadibur? Why is the connection with the city with the Olam Hadibur? Because just like a city is built together from different bricks, and words also create sentences, and then it creates a whole thought. That's called the Olam Hadibur. The Kamoy She'ir Kipshuta. Just like a city, literally, Hi Kibbutz Meribui Botim, it's a collection of many homes. Ubayis, and a home who Meribui Avonim comes from many stones. Al derech zo beruchnis. Similarly, it's also spiritually. She'oisiyos nikroim avonim. Letters are called avonim. Those are stones. Each letter is like a stone. B'hateves shenasa is mitziruf kama oisiyos. When you get a word that comes when you combine several stones, several letters, nikrobotim, that's called a house. It's already a word. As the Sefer Yetzirah writes, Shtei avonim, if you have two stones, boy neshtei batim, you can build two homes. Like you have aleph base, you can say av and boy. So two letters give you two words. Sholosh avonim shisha batim. If you have three letters, then you can have six words. So words, letters, these are all called like stones. These are homes. And when you build a whole bunch of homes, you get a city. So v'olam hadibur b'chlaluso nikra ir elikenu. So when you want to talk about the world of dibur, speech, that's called the city of God, because speech builds cities. Words build cities, which means they build concepts. The whole idea of the words and the ideas that come through the combination of the different letters, through the different words, makes it into a city. That is Ir Elikenu Olam Hadibur. What are we trying to say over here? That it's all the level of doimim. U'kamoy sha'avonim. V'chein haboti v'ir shenasim ha'avonim. Hem doimim. Just like the stones, as well as the homes and the city that come from the avonim are doimim. B'china yoser achroino shebedoimim tzemeach chai medaber. Doimim, the inanimate, is the last level of doimim tzemeach chai medaber. It's the lowest level. So al derech zeh hu benegei le'olam hadibur. When we talk about the world of dibur, which we just said is the level of doimim, shemimenu nishavu kol ha'olamas, which all worlds were created. Shu bechinas hayoser achron is the last level. So basically, we're saying, Shehu bi Elokeinu, then we see the greatness of Hashem when He's in Olam Hadibur, when He's in Doimim, in the lowest of a level. That's when we see the greatness of Hashem. Shehu bechin al derech zehu udvar Hashem miYerushalayim. And this is what we're saying, that the Dvar Hashem is from Yerushalayim, that the Dibur of Hashem, the creation of the world, is from Yerushalayim, from Ir Elikenu, that Yerushalayim is the city. So Dvar Hashem comes from Yerushalayim, from Dvar Havayeh Shemehave Umechayes Kol Hanivroim, that the word of Hashem that creates and vitalizes and sustains all created being, whom Yerushalayim is from Yerushalayim, Ir Elikenu, Kinas Daimim. That is the level of Daimim. So that is the second reflection that we have into the greatness of Hashem, that it is Be'ir Elikenu, that it is from the level of Daimim. So these two levels, from Hashem's creating Godlu Masacho, Rabba Masacho, and also appreciation that this is only the last Madrege, this Olam Hadibur, Olam Hadoimim. That is why the level is Yerushalayim. And that's how we come to Yirat HaTorah. Then we'll explain how we come to Yirat Elah, and then we'll have the question again, how come does it say the Shem Havaya, Shabch Yerushalayim, as Hashem, and by Tzion it's only Elikim, as we shall continue. Okay, we're going to leave it over here.
Okay.
And we'll be mamshich tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem.
Be'ezer Hashem. Yes,
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.